Okay, everybody, good evening. This is William, your friendly monthly host for the ET Whisperers Patreon portal. Today is, what was it, May 29th, 2021, and it is 10:34 p.m., starting a little bit late, but everything has happened, and all things considered, we're actually doing pretty good. I'm here with everybody's favorite ET Whisperer, Mr. Rob Gauthier. Hello, Rob.
Hey, how are you guys doing? How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Actually, I just realized I'm suddenly tired. I'm trying to give up coffee, and I always try and do it at the wrong time, the worst possible time.
Oh yeah, that's how it tends to go. When you have something like coffee, it's the hardest I think to quit out of all my vices that I still have. I think coffee is the one I don't plan on giving up anytime soon.
Well, I didn't say I was going to quit. I didn't say all that. I'm just trying to cut back.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I know you're a maniac on the coffee, kind of like me and Kalina are. We've actually cut back quite a bit too. We used to do oh man, tons of cups throughout the day, like espresso, and we'd get like 6 to 8 shots each time we had a cup, and then we would drink it 3 or 4 times a day. And now we just drink it in the morning, and once in a great while, if we're really dragging ass in midday, we'll get another one going. But we changed a lot of stuff too. We used to buy it from our local coffee shop, and they'd make up a bunch of shots for us, and we'd make our own lattes and stuff. But lately, we've just been brewing our own. We buy a whole bean, crunch it up, and cook it in a little coffee pot and go to town. And that serves us well. It's been doing a lot better, a lot cheaper too.
Well, I really have missed being here. I know we only do it twice a month. I've said this in the past, but even just twice a month is kind of this sort of subtle psychological schedule that I adhere to, and not being here the past couple of days messed me up.
I know, man. I'm actually used to it, and for me to actually have a schedule that I'm used to is really weird. I mean, the only schedule I adhere to is kid-related things, or the 15th and the 30th, and every night at 9:30 to channel for somebody Monday through Friday, and that's really about the only schedule I've had in my life for the last couple of years at least. I tell you, the baby keeps us on our toes, to say the least. And I hate to ask you for this, brother. If you could shoot me the link to the live stream again on Skype, that'd be great, because I want to see where everyone's commenting. But I signed out so I could be in my other account, and then the page disappeared.
Oh, remember Hangouts on Air? You remember that?
I do. That thing was so great. I can't believe they got rid of that. That was the dumbest thing YouTube's ever done.
I know. Uh, we've talked before. I've been respectfully critical of your choice to only broadcast on YouTube, because of their habit of pulling the rug out. I found out that Odyssey now has live streaming. I think we should try doing that sometime.
Oh yeah, you guys would love Odyssey. For those of you who haven't been there, it's different. It's all run through cryptocurrency, but don't worry, you don't have to buy any. It's all free to use. They start you with enough, and each time you watch a video, you get more, and each time you write a comment, you get more. So it's kind of a way that they can do it without being censored, monitored, or exploited by other places. That's the only reason they've been able to keep up what they've done, and remain as successful as they've been. That and BitChute are really two places. Odyssey is the place that we've got all of our stuff on, because they made it easy. You click one button and all the videos transfer. But I think we should put some energy towards that, towards the other one too, BitChute, a little bit. But yeah, I think a live stream there probably would not be bad if we can figure out the tech behind it. I would definitely be up for a live stream there.
I know I haven't made my own content in several months right now, so I've been out of the game. Like right now, I just realized I haven't even looked at what the topic is tonight, which I'm doing right now.
Well, while you're doing that, I want to say hi to everybody here. Hello, Tracy. Excited to have you here. Edith, hello. Savita, my sister, my wonderful sister, hello. Uh, Daniela, hello. Casey, the Galactic Travel Channel, hello. Frederick, hello. Connie Joe, our favorite Connie, hello. Tracy, I want to answer your question as well. He said, hi guys, just wondering, does everyone on Patreon ask a question for tomorrow's Q&A? And the answer is yes. We shut that down at 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, and it's going to be open till then. If you don't have the link, I'd be more than happy to find that for you. I just got to open up my Patreon. It'll take me a few clicks to get there for the post that has that, but I can definitely have the post for the form. We just ask that when people do that, one question per person, no questions within questions, and try and direct it to who you want to ask. So if you want to ask Aridif something, you can ask Aridif and title it as such. This question's for Aridif from me, and this is the thing. Well, obviously not me, but from Tracy. And then you just ask the question, and we try to ask not to make the questions too long either, because if it's 2 paragraphs, it's hard for William to read through that as we're going through and trying to get through as many questions. So as short and concise, but also we want to make sure you get your question asked too. So, those are kind of our outline suggestions for the questions.
Right. I'd like to chime in on that, because there's nothing worse than having to cut off people's questions. And we've had smaller groups in the past, and so we let a lot of stuff slide. Especially these really long questions, because they're interesting. People describe a dream. I started out in a bathtub and then ran down the hallway, and 10 minutes later, and by the way, Treb, what color socks should I be wearing? And we
yes,
and we went with it because we had a smaller group. But in the interest of running a concise radio format, I'm gonna have to start cutting that, guys. Be reasonable. We'll let some stuff slide. I understand there's only so many words in the English language to get your point across, but let's try and be more reasonable when we send these things in, because I'm going to have to start cutting them, and I don't want to do that.
And everybody, William is a radio extraordinaire. You often, for new people who are just joining us this month, you'll often hear him say show or radio, and it's because he spent a long time in broadcasting. He had a very successful YouTube channel that was also shut down, also censored, so that's why you might hear him talk about that too. The wonderful aspects of William, you will come to find out whether watching old shows or listening to the new ones. William is amazing dude who's got a lot of experience, and he also runs a tight ship. That's why the suggestions he's given.
We lost you.
He's the one who asked him. So, you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And now I can't. Oh, Rob's calling me back. But where? How the hell do I answer this? Rob's not calling. See, that's the other thing, is that I'm older. That's why it's like a radio program to me. See, now we have what's known in the radio business as dead air, where Rob has unexpectedly fallen off the charts. I can't hear him. Here he is. Rob, are you still there? You're probably going to have to change your microphone in the settings section. There is a poor network connection. Well, guys, I am hardwired into fiber optic internet, and I suspect Rob is not. So, as I was saying, we are now faced with something that is known as dead air, where Rob is not here, and I have no prepared show in order of which to keep you entertained while we're trying to solve these technical difficulties. So I can only hope that Rob is taking the appropriate steps on his end to strengthen and reconnect the Skype call. God, I hate when this happens. All right, so as we wait for Rob to call back in, I did manage to track down what we're going to be talking about tonight. It is a suggestion from Daniela about collective reality and mass agreements. The mechanics, how the overlap of many different belief systems can create the human consensus reality. Is there a tuning of perception that holds the mass agreement together? The influence of the individual in the mass shared reality and the process of changing beliefs within the mass consciousness. What should we know about the mass agreements of our society that we unconsciously agreed to uphold? That is a fantastic question. This kind of ties into, there's a book if you're new to the channel, I don't know where to begin on this, but you may or may not have heard about the Seth material. It's something that we mention almost every show, actually, because the Seth material was channeled by Jane Roberts from the early 1960s until her death in 1984. And it's kind of like the granddaddy of channeled material in the modern era. Certainly there were people before her. But we're talking about the modern New Age movement. Jane Roberts is Queen Bee. So Seth wrote a book at one point called The Individual and the Nature of Mass Events, which I don't think I have a copy of right here, but he goes totally in depth, which I'm hoping Aridif will do tonight. I'm assuming we'll end up talking to Aridif. He goes totally in depth talking about exactly what Daniela's question is, how our private realities come together and merge to form mass experiences, and how through the infinite number of probable timelines that exist, we can choose our daily events. Literally, when you open your door in the morning, you're opening your door to a brand new version of reality. And I have a video somewhere. It's actually on Odyssey. It's certainly not on YouTube anymore because I killed my channel, where I actually read quite heavily from this book, The Individual and the Nature of Mass Events, in regard to viruses. When the whole coronavirus pandemic started, I went through the Seth material and I started to find out what Seth had to say about viruses in particular. And so I'm going to look for that for you guys now. I have no idea what's going on with Rob. Oh, wait, hang on. Yo. Okay, everybody, let me give you an update on what's happening. Sorry to disappear so abruptly. You guys are the most patient Patreon group I've ever been a part of. My own Patreon group was not this patient, although they were wonderful people. Rob is definitely having technical difficulties. He tracked the problem back down to a loose coaxial cable in another room of the house. He's desperately trying to reconnect. He says the problem should only take about 5 minutes to solve. He begs your patience. And he knows you guys will understand. I wish I had something better to talk to you guys about tonight. Let's see how everybody is tonight. Daniela, hello. You're lucky you got your question picked tonight, so that's going to be happening. Hello, Casey, Frederick. For those of you just joining us, we were connected to Rob. We were having quite a lively discussion at the beginning of the show, but Rob's having technical difficulties. Apparently, he's been having them all week, and I think now he's just gotten to the root of the problem right now. Let's see who we have here. We got Tracy, Edith, Savita, hello, Daniela, Casey, Frederick. I think we got everybody. So, just a few more minutes, guys. Whenever Rob gets back to me, I will bring him back to you. So, just stand by a few more moments. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Guess what, guys? Rob is back.
Hey, everybody! How are you guys? Yeah, man, this has kind of been the thing I was gonna talk to all of you guys about. After everything came back online, the situations with me and Kalina in the last couple of weeks have been absolutely a little insane. 3 weeks, sorry. As you guys know, I think you guys know, the last time we had talked about the baby surgery, right? We talked about that at the last month's end of it, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and then the day we're ready to get back to work, Kalina's mom got a phone call from Kalina's family saying her mom had a couple hours to a couple days before they passed, or before she was going to pass, her mom. So we went down there to North Carolina, and it took us 2 days instead of 12 hours. So it was a bit challenging, right? With the baby, didn't want to sleep, and we got there, and then we got to spend about a day and a half with her before she passed. Kalina was the one who, it was actually a very sweet experience. Do you mind if I share that with everyone, Mama? All right, so her sister, her dad, they were all up with her mom because they knew it was going to be soon. The hospice nurses had come every morning to refill the medicine for her. She had to take morphine and Ativan, to keep her comfortable while she was passing. And they told her that morning when they got there, we're surprised she's made it this long. She's going to pass, and so they gave them the medicine and left, and her breathing became erratic. Her oxygen levels got below 96, which, is usually when they have to intubate someone with breathing tubes. So they knew it was going to be real soon. So everyone was exhausted. Everybody had been up for a day and a half at that point, at least minimum. Some of them had been up for 2 or 3 days almost. And the whole bed where Mom was laying was filled with her sister, her dad, and they said, Kalina couldn't lay down, so they said, go back downstairs, go to sleep with Rob. We're all going to go to sleep now, and if she passes while you're downstairs, we'll stomp on the floor 3 times. Her dad said that, and she's like, no, that could wake the baby, just come down. So anyway, she comes down, goes to sleep, and hears the thump on the floor. And she goes upstairs, and everyone's still sleeping. No one was there. No one had been awake. She looked at her mom, saw that she wasn't breathing any longer, saw that she had passed, and woke up everybody else to tell them what had happened. So this loud stomp on the floor that woke Kalina up, we don't know where it came from, but nobody in the house did it. So that was kind of a neat experience of Kalina being able to get some good confirmation that at very least her mom's guides were there with her, working with her.
I had asked Mom.
And Kalina had asked her mom too, before leaving to go to bed, if you're going to pass, Mom, make sure, or if you do pass, make sure I know, because her dad was like, I don't know if I want to come down, because, it's the stairs in the middle of the night. So that's how Kalina ended up finding her mom and alerting everyone. Her mom.
It was actually 3 in the morning.
It was 3 in the morning, almost on the money.
Pass sooner. And
I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you hear, William?
Exhausted.
Yes.
All right, hold on, Kalina. Redo that.
Oh, it's okay.
No, it's all right. They can hear you. Right, they can hear you talking with that volume. Just start from the top.
I'm sorry, guys. My mind's just so discombobulated. I wasn't expecting to be on.
Well, yeah, they can hear you. It's all right, Mom. You were just saying.
I don't know where I was.
Right, that's what I'm telling you. You said something to the effect of, no one had stomped on the floor to come get you, and you had asked your mom. That's where you left off.
Yeah, it's just the night before. What happened is my family thought my mom was going to pass, and Rob and I were downstairs, and my dad had stomped on the bathroom floor upstairs because my old room where I grew up, where we were sleeping in, is directly below. But we didn't hear it. We slept through it. I didn't sense anything about my mom passing that the previous night. So then the next night, we kept thinking that she was about to pass, and she wasn't. She was just holding on, and so my dad said, we tried tapping on the bathroom floor to get you guys to come up, but then it turned out to be a false alarm, so we didn't come and get you. And then we were up, and we just kept staying up, and our bodies were exhausted. And I think we all kind of got the feeling that Mom wanted us to be there, but not to be there, if that makes sense.
She was a very private person, her mom was.
Very private, kind of, I don't want to say quiet. She was kind of quiet, but not necessarily shy. She just, she didn't feel like she had to always, be very loud about anything.
Yeah, sometimes I'd have a chat with her and I'd talk 20 minutes. She would say a couple words.
Several hours before she had passed, I asked her if she was able to. I said, Mom, I know you're going to be busy with transitioning, and you're probably going to have a whole lot of guides and stuff, but if you can, give me some sort of sign that, you're okay and that you've made it through, that would be great. And so I feel like it was one of the angels that was with her, but she had a lot of angelic presence. When I had asked her, I had just gotten done with something I've been researching, because I know that everything around her was revolved around death, and so I said, Mom, before you go, I want to teach you one more thing, because she always loved to learn. She always loved to learn new things. And I thought, for the past 2 years you've been sick, you probably haven't gotten to enjoy very much. She used to read all the time, and she had gotten so sick she couldn't read anymore. So I said, so one of the topics that I've been researching on that I'll be talking about in the future when I do launch my YouTube videos is I started thinking one day about the meaning of what does Christ really mean. And so I looked into the etymology and I started following the history of it, and it had to do with anointing yourself with olive oil. And when she first started getting sick, she started kind of hallucinating. She got to a point where for a while she thought she was a demon, and she was scared, and her old Christian upbringing from her childhood started coming up. And so I wanted to tell her about that Christ thing, or Christ had to do with being anointed in olive oil. And I said, and when I read more deeply, it has to do with peace. It even goes into the whole old pagan lore, multiple stories. And it has to do with peace. And so to be Christed is to anoint yourself or another in olive oil and be within peace. I said, so it's to be in peace. So I had Rob, I was being a little sneaky because I didn't know how my family would feel about me anointing her third eye in olive oil. So I said, Rob, go get some olive oil from the kitchen. So he went off, and got some for me. And I finished telling Mom about the history of olive oil, because I knew that maybe there was I just had this feeling there was some small part of her that was still a little afraid to go. Maybe, like, what if there's something, even though she was seeing good things and had mentioned family members coming.
Yeah.
And my mom, at this point, she couldn't speak. Like, when I arrived, she could no longer speak. And I anointed her with the olive oil, and I leaned really close, I, I whispered, Mom, I just Christed you got the olive oil on your third eye. And she went, like she sounded like she was really happy with this and very happy to know about this piece of old history that I don't think she'd known before. And within a few hours after that, I asked her, please give me some sort of sign if you can. I don't want to bother you, but, you know. So all of us were around her, and everybody's bodies were just getting heavily tired. We all wanted to sleep around her, but the one spot that was left for me was right where people would have to walk, and I knew I'd be stepped on, and she had to get morphine every hour on the hour because her body was in severe pain. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be right below her, and my energy is still going to be there. And I said, Mom, I'm right below you, okay? I'm still in this same room, kind of just right below. Just give me some sort of sign if you can. And then my dad said, well, we could stop on the bathroom floor. And I said, no, please don't do that. You'll wake up the baby if you do that. So I made myself a tea to try to help relax my nerves. And I went downstairs. I drank the tea. I tried to stay up because I was trying to listen for any kind of, but then just finally I got so tired. I don't think I was sleeping long. All of a sudden, because I was just starting to get into my sleep, and I heard this bang above me, and I thought, oh my God, did they just bang? And I kind of hesitated for a second, and then I started running up the stairs quietly, and I could hear there was no sound, but I still felt compelled to go up there. And I go in. My mom was on an oxygen machine, one of those things called.
Yeah, it's this oxygen tank.
Right.
Yeah.
And that whole time my mom had really kind of labored, chaotic kind of breathing on and off. But when I went upstairs, my dad was asleep, my sister was on the floor asleep, the rooms around her. And she had just had the last morphine dose maybe 15 minutes prior, I guess, because I heard often one of our family members go in there and do that, and then I fell asleep shortly after, so it couldn't have been long. So I go up there and I look, and I'm just standing there and I'm watching, and I don't see her breathing. And I spent probably several minutes before I could, and I'm looking at my dad, looking at my sister, I'm like, first of all, I was giving her thanks, and I was in complete kind of shock, but also relieved to know she was no longer in pain. And I was like, how do I do this? How do I report this news? I want to do it gently. I don't want to be alarming. And so I kind of stroked my dad's arm, and I said, Dad, Mom is not breathing. I think she's passed. I don't see her breathing. I think she's passed. And he was kind of out. He's like, no, she's not. She's right here. I said, no, Dad, she's not breathing. And at the same time that when he said, she's right here, I told Marielle, sweetie, get up. I think Mom has passed. And then my dad, he started to realize that she wasn't breathing, and he put his fingers on her neck to check her, and his shoulders dropped and said, oh, she's gone. And so we started getting her body prepared right away because they had to call the hospice team to come in. And
yeah, they had to do the pronouncement.
So, we were getting her body ready, which I hadn't expected to do. I didn't even think I would be able to handle it. It was really hard emotionally because she had been on this incline pillow. And my dad handed it to me, and it was still so warm, and it had her sweat, and I burst into tears because I said, Dad, she literally just passed away a few moments ago. And my sister looked at the time and she said, guys, it's just before 3. She passed at a very auspicious time in the morning.
Yeah,
And
3 a.m. is known as the witching hour.
Yeah. And so I helped my dad because we wanted to make sure her jaw was shut. She passed with her eyes closed. In fact, the whole time I was there, I didn't see her eyes open. She did manage to say one thing that I missed when I first walked in. Rob told me that he had announced that Kalina and Lilith is here too. And they said she opened her eyes and said, oh, honey, but I missed it. I think it's because Lily was wiggling.
Yeah.
And I'm very sad that I missed it. But I think it's very sweet that her last audible words were, oh, honey, to Lilith, because she didn't really get to have a whole lot of time with her in her life at all. But
Well, I know she hung on just so we could get down. She knew we were coming, so.
So just so that we could go say goodbye. That's the kind of person my mom is. She was in such severe pain.
As crazy as the family dynamic can be with the family, Mom was the most selfless, most gentle, most kind person that you could ever meet.
Yeah.
And she was so smart too. She had 2 PhDs, and that's why Kalina was 2 masters. I'm sorry, not PhDs. 2 masters. One of them was in history, and that's why Kalina went through the history with her, because one thing you could get her to talk about is history, because she was really, really into that stuff. So it was amazing.
Well,
She's a great woman.
The alternative history, and I feel like, because my mom has a master's in library science. As weird as it sounds, I feel like she's been bringing information that I've been trying to figure out, and songs, and I feel her energy. Like, I don't even know how to describe it other than it's glittery kind of sparkly energy that I feel around me. I feel her touch my face sometimes through the wind, but it's very different. But I feel somehow like it's her. It's almost this, like she's has some kind of angelic or godlike status now that she's trying to figure out. Time's not linear, so.
Well, she was already pretty conscious too about
True.
Afterlife, and that helps a lot when you
But I'm
pass
sure
over.
she still must be going through some sort of orientation, but because time's not linear,
Sure.
I could be experiencing times with my mom. Like
Yeah, hundreds of years from now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get used to. It's really hard for me. Like, I'll be fine and I'll be able to function, and then I'll just suddenly burst into tears, and sometimes I feel very angry, not at her, or not anybody in particular, just, my mom came down with something that's apparently 1 in 5 million chances to get amyloidosis. And it's just hard, but when you are, it's definitely some sort of soul contract when you have something that's 1 in 5 million. And let me tell you something. Everything that she was 1 in 5 million, if not more. She was an amazing person.
She was a whole different kind of breed. They broke the mold when they made her. That's for sure.
It's just something sad is she died without really having the things that she really wanted, and she had a hard time speaking up for them, and
I lost you guys. Okay, guys, we seem to be having technical difficulties again. And I hope Rob has realized that I've lost him at this point. All right, guys, let me try and solve this again. One moment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You there? Yeah, I can hear you. One second, Rob. I gotta bring you back on. I muted you again because it was all garbled. I was having definite connectivity problems. So hang on, I'm bringing you back.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we're back
Sounds
with
good, brother.
Rob again. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening tonight. It's really going off the rails.
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, guys. Sorry about that. We're just, like I said, it's been one of those things. But Kalina said thank you guys for listening to her share. We decided to get moving as quick as we can because we don't want this to be a continuing issue with the connectivity. But thank you guys for listening to us. That's basically what I wanted to share is all the issues that's been going on. And Kalina wrapped it up kind of nicely. We're going to be leaving again Monday to go back to North Carolina for the funeral, and then hopefully it won't take us more than a couple days there and a couple days back and a day there for the funeral. So thank you guys for hanging in there. We're going to get this done tonight. Tomorrow, if our internet place is open, we're going to get a new modem and a new router because that might be the problem with the issues that we're having. But it could be a million things. We've had internet issues the whole time we've lived here in one shape or another, usually not as bad as it's been in the last week. But
I know.
anyway, guys.
Not to rub it in, but I've got fiber optic right here. Like I'm plugged into the main hub for Southwest Virginia. It's the most secure connection I could ever have.
That's what I want.
I know. I'm so grateful. I really am.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. They have good internet here, just not to the specific apartment complex. Like Comcast is usually great where we were at before, because they had good speeds. But either way, we're good now, guys. So I'm gonna mute down. I'm gonna neutralize. I'm gonna be back in about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into this channeling tonight. What was the subject that won, brother? Do you remember?
Yes, I read this earlier when you went down. It's from Daniela, Collective Reality and Mass Agreements. The mechanics, how the overlap of many different belief systems create the human consensus reality. Is there a tuning of perception that holds the mass agreement together? The influence of the individual in the mass shared reality and the process of changing beliefs within the mass consciousness. What should we know about the mass agreements of our society that we unconsciously agreed to uphold?
Oh, I like that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Daniela, for that. That's beautiful. I think that'll be a great topic. Excuse me, guys. We're going to have Aridif kick that one in the butt when we get back, and I'm going to shut my face and neutralize. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. And Kalina said to send her love to you guys, and she loves you very much. And yeah, I'll be back in a few, guys. Thank you, brother.
And also, pass along to Kalina that her story ended perfectly before we had the technical problem. She didn't really get cut off, so it worked out.
Yes, that was the good thing too that we had that I had expressed too, because I knew that you said I could hear you the whole time. That's why I was befuddled, like what is going on? But I switched to the other internet, which is a higher broadband. We have 2 plugins, so hopefully that'll keep it going tonight. Thank you, sweetie. All right, guys, love you. I'm gonna shut my face. I'll be back 10 minutes. Kalina loves you guys. Loves
You
you,
guys
William,
too.
too. I love you, brother. And we'll see you guys in a few.
All right, and I am going to make a pot of coffee because asking me to not drink coffee at this moment in time is a bridge too far. So, enjoy more Hungarian. Yeah, right. Enjoy more. Enjoy more Hungarian music. Okay, everybody, I have my cup of coffee. Just a few more minutes from Rob, I'm certain, and the show will go on. I think he's still connected. He is neutralizing now, whatever. I think he's got. I don't know if he's still using that Golden Monkey song. At one time, Rob always sends me his neutralizing music when he changes it up. I don't know how frequently he changes it up. We can all use a breather after a night like tonight. I have never had so many technical problems on one of Rob's shows. You know, it's been a weird day today, though. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. I don't know where you guys are listening from around the world, but I had to go out today, and it was just a really weird vibe. I did not want to be on the road. I was making stupid mistakes. I've been making stupid mistakes tonight. I was just making a cup of coffee, and I could hear in the background while I'm supposed to be playing music for you guys, you could clearly hear me making a cup of coffee because I forgot to mute my microphone. Thank God that's all you were able to hear. But it's just been one of those days. Everything seems kind of out of sorts, you know, so the fact that we're having technology problems doesn't even surprise me at this point. What have you guys' days been like out there? Let me see what's happening over in the chat room here. Hello, Deborah. Let's see here. What are you guys talking about? Deborah, you have not missed the channeling. Oh, it seems like Rob is back. Or Rob will be back. I got a message that he's returning shortly. Oh my God, yes. Yes, that first sweet cup of coffee, that first sip. Unbelievable. For those of you that are wondering, I am drinking Chock Full of Nuts, New York's official coffee. Chock Full of Nuts makes that heavenly coffee. They do not sponsor the show, but they probably should. I think I made it a little too strong. But whatever. I'll put a little water in it. Yeah, 11:30. Sorry we've been going so late, guys. I mean, I know we have a habit of running behind, but this is inexcusable even for us. And some of it's out of our hands. You know, we're just along for the ride. It's the first time I've poured anything in my coffee other than liquor in a long time. I have to start harvesting more classical music because, you know, YouTube's trying to put the kibosh on us playing all the cool music that I've been playing in the past. You guys know I always play different music every time we do a show. Well, we can't do that anymore. So I have to start looking for royalty-free music, you know, stuff like Shostakovich and Tchaikovsky. So you'll be getting a lot more of that, unless we go over to Odyssey where they don't care and I can start playing cool music again. I mean, I've got nothing against classical music. I mean, but this is the ET Whisperers show. We should be playing trippy stuff, you know, not like, it sounds like NPR, you know, when I'm playing Vivaldi music and stuff on the ET Whisperers show. It just doesn't fit. Oh, Deborah says the timing's great for her. Okay. You know, that could be it. We're talking about consensus mass reality today. Maybe the entire reason for all these delays is so that Deborah could hear the show in a time that's most convenient to her, while the rest of us are hours behind.
A person in the world to wait for than Deborah. Hello, Deborah. How are you? Oh, yeah, guys. So, I'm going to take a drink of water and we'll jump in pretty quick. I did want to give you guys a heads up. I'm going to be doing a interview in July that's going to be on Lee Harris's podcast. For those of you who haven't heard of Lee Harris, he does the energy updates on YouTube. He's an amazing channeler, probably one of the better ones out there, in my opinion. I would put him in the top 10 for sure. He's a great guy. He's an amazing human being. He's got one of the best hearts of anyone I've ever met. And he's really amazing. So if you haven't checked him out, you should. And if, well, from my opinion, obviously. And then my interview with him will be in July. We're going to shoot it on the 4th. I don't know or the 7th, but I don't know how long it'll take them to get on there. Just wanted to make you guys aware, and when I find out, I'll let you know too. Actually, I'm going to step back for 1 second because I forgot to. I'm going to grab the other water. It feels like a heavy water night, and I don't know if a half gallon will do it. So be right back.
All right. Yeah, I've got 3 quarts of water left over here. Even I go through a lot of water when I'm hosting the show with Rob. I kind of tune into his vibe, you know. This coffee, though. So good.
And one more thing too, guys, I forgot to mention quickly before we get started. I know I've told you guys about the fatty tumor that I had in my neck. It was part of the experience of keeping my voice kind of contained, and I've been practicing speaking more in my mind lately. And as I've been losing all this weight lately, I've lost like 80 pounds maybe in the last 3 months, maybe more, probably. I have noticed that something happened with me that all the doctors I've ever seen told me couldn't happen. And that's that a lipoma, which is a fatty tumor, non-cancerous, could not dissipate and could not shrink or any of that it had to be surgically removed only. It's shrunk probably 60%, if not more, just since I've started losing my weight. It makes sense. I mean, the thing's made out of fat, right? So you would think that it would, but it doesn't happen. A lot of people lose weight and their lipomas are still there, even though I did read some literature on the internet that said it does happen from people who lost weight during a time that they've had one. The doctor said it was impossible, but it's happened. So I've lost a lot, and I hope that that's helping my throat with the channeling, where as important as water is, that it doesn't break up my voice so bad. We'll see. I've only channeled, actually, God, I don't know if I think I've channeled once or twice in the last 3 weeks. I've tried to get on the line with the last 4 or 5 people that I've had sessions with, and almost every time the internet's crashed. Now I think I fixed it permanently. It was a loose connection in my son's room. So, yeah, pretty amazing. All right, guys. So I'm going to take my drink of water, take one more breath, and then we're jumping in.
Okay.
And as you guys noticed, too, I comment on the thing in a different account. This is my ET Whisper, too, so if you guys aren't subscribed there, you can, even though I haven't uploaded in probably 2 years. I want to start using that as I get down the road with getting more videos out on this channel, the one that we're broadcasting from, with different stuff than what I put on the other channel. And what I put on that channel will probably go also on the alternative sites, the ones we were talking about earlier, Odyssey and BitChute. So anyway, I'm going to take a breath, guys, and we're going to go. Alright, guys, I love you. Thank you for your patience tonight. Deborah, I'm glad we could fit your schedule tonight. I love you guys so much, William. Again, you are amazing. You stepped up, stepped in on a night you weren't expecting to. You didn't think you'd have to do this till tomorrow. Now you're going to do it 2 days in a row, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And thank all of you guys so much. Love you, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Here we go. Greetings to all Aridif. They are I, DIF, and this is its spell. We understand that your desire to speak collective agreements within the co-created collective consciousness, the layer interpersonal belief, orientation of co-creation, desire, collaborative co-created collective consciousness, as well as the individual co-created collective consciousness. But before diving into this construct, we wish to express to all of you two things that we have always expressed. First, above and beyond all things expressed within this day, to know, feel, and of course to perceive that you are loved, in our perspective, is of utmost importance. Second, it is our greatest excitement to be here with each and every one of you, with all of you collectively, and of course the interchangeable co-creative collective form of local consciousness that creates the entire collective of, or Patreon, or internet, or the co-created channeled excitement collective in which all of you are forming this moment. Thirdly, we wish to express greetings to all of you, as well as greetings to Will.
Greetings, Aridif.
Yes, of course. Now, first we will dive into the construct that is the assignment of the collective consciousness and what it means to create in form of collective consciousness. The simple mechanics are well understood by the majority of all of you, that the individual consciousness is at the forefront and precipice of creatorship for all of you individually. When you are experiencing the entire experience of Earth in your experienced body and focus of consciousness in the lower fractal energy, it is one of infinite versions of your own consciousness. We have expressed through deep detail the auspice of the twin soul in how the twin soul relates to the oversoul consciousness. Oversoul holds that consciousness which is focused in your own personal desired reality. And although we understand that desired reality for some of you seem to be an oxymoron, we assure you it is not, as the preferred reality is the one in which you've created by your own means and not through desire alone. Of course, the belief systems hold the parameter of the program that is your own reality form. The thoughts are the data that you are putting into your program. The actions, excitements behind those actions are the hitting into the key of all of the thoughts that are poured into your systemic reality, confined by the localized barrier that is the beliefs and put into action. And that is the form that your individual focused consciousness is on. Now, you understand the individual nature of that consciousness. You understand that your focus fractal in the oversoul is the part of your own experience. Yet others who are not greatly excited to co-create with that specific version of you, be it is not in their preferential construct, or it is not in their beliefs, that the focus that you have in your excitements may be the focus of excitement to the version that they are creating with. They can, in fact, create with a different version of you in all reality than what you are focused in. This is an important part of the construct, as the individual co-creator consciousness is first the parameter of your own experiential quality, the own energy which you embed into the entirety of physical reality. Now, when you experience your own individual reality and entities that are working with that fractal of your focused consciousness in the Oversoul, then all things are mostly transparent for the human who understands their own creation. And in the transparency that is the creation at hand, you understand the dynamics between yourself and yet another focused energy, or another entity that is focused directly into their own Oversoul rather than an alternative version of them. But what creates those alternative versions? We have expressed it can be as simple as a belief from the person across from them. Let us be more specific. First, we will hydrate and continue. When you are working with another consciousness, and you believe this person to be crass or short-handed, or perhaps the construct of quick to temper, and the person themselves does not perceive this part of themselves, they perceive themselves as passionate, as easily passionate about the construct in which they are. There are two different versions of that person. The one that the person is, which is focused in their own reality, and the projection that the person across from them is perceiving. They are not perceiving the person who's passionate, therefore can bubble up to the surface at some moments. In fact, they are perceiving that angry, vile, crass version of the other person. Therefore, the entity that they are perceiving, working with, is not that is focused. Sometimes this may be a simple difference of opinion in way to perceive, but majoritively, the depths of how different one person may be compared to how they are perceived by others often is the most probable version of that entity being a co-creation of that version of them that is not focused directly inside of the Oversoul. Yet again, we zoom outward into the importance of this on a collective level. When groups of entities are working together, there are mixed versions of perspectives of that reality. In fact, individual creators creating from their focused version of reality into a group often changes the version of entities that they're working from moment to moment. If there's one person in a circle of 10, and that person is speaking at the moment, 10 humans have made their minds up about what or who this person is. Therefore, the version of that entity that is centered in the circle may be different to all 10 of the entities, yet has the possibility to change into either one through clarity of conversation, through clarity of expressing those in-depth versions of themselves that they perceive, that is focused into their Oversoul, or to simply create a separation from that energy by shifting certain humans' opinions about that person into their experience, thus changing the alternative version to a slightly different alternative version. This is also important, as collective consciousnesses can and do often perceive this construct also in similar ways. There are countries that dispute, countries that fight wars, countries that are together not getting along, and then they perceive the other as such. Now we understand this dynamic alone from what the individual perceives themselves to be, compared to how others perceive them, is always drastically different. In a spectral vibration, difference does not always equate to an alternative version of that entity being perceived. In fact, if the vibration is similar, it can be one and the same entity. But in the collective version, it will depend upon the area of consciousness in which that projection will occur. For example, those that live in India and those who live in Pakistan
are two different forms of energies. One country perceives the other as the bad guy, and the other country perceives themselves to be the good guy. Therefore, there are two different forms of energy strictly in that moment. Yet those who are a bit more neutral in their perspective, that can see a certain nature of Pakistan and history of Pakistan, and also India and the history of this, and see the industrious nation, and perceive the kindness of certain groups of entities. All of these things can bring about a level version of both to experience. This way, not two collective consciousnesses are arguing with one another, and for that population of neutrality can perceive the focused version of both entities. Now again, zooming outward, it is important, as there are multiple countries, and within countries, multiple secular versions of entities that live within the countries. For example, you understand the United States of America and the way that it is broken apart. There's 50 individual states. Within those states, there are several counties per state, depending upon their own zoning of counties. The counties are then broken into cities, townships, etc., and each of those have independent groups of humans that are collective, that say, we are from this specific town or specific region of county, and we are this way in our own perspective, our own vibration. You break down even the most simple place of Kalamazoo County, and where Rob and Kalina inhabit, and you will see the town of Kalamazoo itself tends to be one that is very liberal, that is very mixed with different groups of entities that have come from other regions of the world, that are co-creating and collecting and hold a very liberal mindset of energy. And those who are still within the constraints of the county of Kalamazoo, that are not in the city, are often those who are quite conservative, and mostly of the white variety. There are different groups, different mindsets within the local version, yet all of those entities identify themselves as being a part of the community of the Kalamazoo County region. This is the difficulty in expressing the co-creative means of human consciousness as a part of the co-creative, with all of the groups and all of the secular and divided consciousnesses within these groups. There are a great deal of projections, there are a great deal of self-identifying, and there are a great deal of consciousnesses who are shifting their vibration from the alternative versions that they are. In this way, the entirety of the Earth collective consciousness does come into a cohesiveness. The cohesiveness specifically comes from the understanding and agreement that all entities that are in the Earth collective will be in ever-shifting vibration. This is one of the common phrases that come to most humans and most religions in most portions of the world, in most secular or non-secular versions of the collective form consciousness of Earth. The only thing that is constant is change. That vibration of Earth is agreed upon so greatly that the Earth co-created collective consciousness holds the vibration of randomness to a degree that well over 93% of all planets in this entire galactic collective consciousness cannot hold. The vibration of uniqueness that is there with the co-creation of Earth comes from the ever-shifting consciousness of the person that is with you. Now, humans believe that when looking upon this phenomenon of the alternate version of human that is across, shifting, both in and out of the version of their own experience, compared to the focused version that is within the oversoul, that this person or version of entity that I am working with in this moment therefore is not real. They are only one probable output of a consciousness that's only designated to create forms of ever-changing probabilities and infinite forms of probabilities yet we can express that this is untrue. Yes, the version that is focused in that expression, that is an alternative version, is not the same as that which is focused, but it is not less. It has less consciousness in the physical body, but is just a real version of human being that you are. This is why when humans go into their afterlife after passing, they are simply able to go back into another version of their experience. Let us say that perhaps in one time, when you are co-creating with other humans and create a marriage, and the marriage does not work out and a great deal of pain has come from that marriage, one might say, after learning their own capacity of creation, the probability creation in the twin soul, or simply knowing that infinite possibilities are available, they can designate themselves to step in to that version of reality in which they never married that person in the first place, and start their incarnation from there. Some humans perceive it as a walk-in, and it is one small form of a walk-in, but it is not a specific form that most humans perceive walk-ins to be. It is simply a walk-in from one other fractal of their own consciousness, a fractal that in their afterlife desires to go back into that experience and recreate the entirety of their afterlife and in their physical life as well. We'll hydrate and continue.
All right.
Now, after perceiving the entirety of the versions of personal, of collective, and of co-created means, in co-creating in different functions, different versions, different probabilities, it will be important to see the events in how they occur. Give us one example of an Earth event in which you are curious to see how the Earth co-created collective consciousness created, and we will show you the mechanics of this.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time, Aridif?
Yes, of course. Give us one example that you are curious of in your own heart and mind of an event that has occurred in the Earth collective, and we will show you mechanically how consciousness in a co-created collective and individual collective form created it.
All right. Well, actually, that was going to be one of my questions at the end. I know it's a mundane example, but all the problems we've been having tonight, the getting the show going, it's really uncharacteristic. And it's not just me or Rob or the internet, it's all of us. And I was wondering how that played out.
Yes, of course. Well, this is a much smaller level than what we wish to give example for, but we will answer that query after giving a larger example, something that has affected the majority of humans in the Earth collective.
Well, the easy go-to example then is the COVID experience we've all just had.
Yes, of course, we have touched upon this in some time, but not broken down the mechanics simply. This is a unique example as it is a part of the entirety of the 18-year cycle that has occurred with accelerated consciousness for the benefit of growth for the human race, what humans call ascension, what we would call the third to fourth density transference of consciousness. That energy is an important step of the Earth itself. This part has a great deal to play with the energies that are located not only in your Earth collective, but from the solar system and galactic collective consciousness. So let us preface this construct by saying, in order for us to share the mechanics, you must simply first understand that the entire galactic collective consciousness plays a part in this experience through acceleration alone. It does lend nuances in many different forms, but for simplicity's sake, understanding this is important. Understanding that the entirety of your solar system collective also played a part not only in rebalancing the solar system collective consciousness, but the Earth component's vibrational lending to the other components of the entirety of the solar system collective, and this too is an important understanding. If all of us can perceive that construct and then dive into the mechanics, then of course we will not have to express the different ways in which those two forces played. Just simply understanding that they exist and were part of this is enough in our own mind. So we step into this construct more deeply. First, all humans across the entirety of the planet have seen growth in their personal technological and personal comfort of life arenas. Now we understand this statement does not account for a great deal of those who suffer, who are starving, who do not have technology. But even these people have had groups of workers from humane constructs in their own mind that would come and give them vaccinations, or come and give them medicines, or foods, or clothing, in certain and sparse expressions. Now, of course, these are not help in a larger way or more permanent way, but much more than the ancestors or groups of entities in these groups have experienced. So in that way, the way of life had bettered slightly for those entities. But for the majority of the Earth, in the population at home, over 70% of the Earth consciousness have seen great shifts in both technology, in both wellness of life expression, and in the conscious experience of simply understanding and knowing more about all scientific theories, about the way that the Earth works in certain places, and as well as the understanding in which systems occur. There was a greater grasp of this construct previous to or 2 years ago. Most humans did not pay attention or keep mind to the version of energy that was the governmental system, the medicinal systems, or schooling systems. Conscious co-creation with other humans. Technology pulled many humans away from interacting with other humans. There was a great deal of non-care, non-focus, or non-attention to these regions of your experience. There was trust that the system would hold those things in places, and that little to no work had to be done on the individual base for the growth of those arenas, as they had grown fine without you in many years previous. Now, of course, we understand, as all things that we share, there will be that example that does not fit within that key frame. But of course, the majority of humans held the vibration. We do not care what is done as long as we are able to continue doing as we have done. This showed a great deal of lack of interest in these places, yet most of the examples that we have shared have been part of the most problematic portions of the Earth collective consciousness. Most of you desire to hold truth before everything in front of you, to hold love in front of everything in front of you, to hold understanding and personal contact with others in front of your excitements, others to know the truth of what is beyond and to meet extra-dimensionals, terrestrials, etc. All of you holding different greater excitements, but for the most part, this community that we are co-creating at the localized version carried one of those excitements or more. Many of the entities in the greater held excitements about getting more money, getting better jobs, finding easier ways of living in their own experience, yet those places untouched by attention. The acceleration of the consciousness, in addition, was a part of the expression that accelerated the greater desires and showed the greatest resistances, the greatest desires for humans to become more at one with one another. Even though there are great divisions in the Earth collective, the majority of humans in their personal expressions did not wish to have war, did not wish to have continued escalations with other groups of entities, even if they were their enemies. They did not wish to see murder and death. They did not wish to see starvation of others. They did not wish to see a great deal of the experiences that held resistance in front of them, yet are not focused upon it, out of sight and out of mind. The acceleration of consciousness that occurred at the galactic and of the solar system level allowed all of the energy to surface with some of these energies, starting at most humans with political and financial, being true that were greater parts of those that you are listening, of your experiences than the other components. And as those came to be, it attracted humans to the construct of the political or financial arenas, as those parts became more prominent, in their face more, in their experience more, their day-to-day expression of reality more, and once grabbing on to more and more understanding, perceiving how much more was broken in those systems. Now we understand political figures that are within the entirety of the Earth Collective hold either renown or they hold controversy, and this does not change from country to country. It is but accepted by most humans that there will be humans in their governmental system that they enjoy and ones they do not, ones that they are able to trust and others they do not. The prime example, through the vocalization of more and more politicians, started the ball rolling to see how broken systems your reality were through first governmental structures, saying, yes, this politician who is in front of me has become a clown, or this person is right, and all of these things are broken. All of the things that they are talking about are simply excuses for why they have failed. This is the perspective of many humans who either attach some or all of their attention into that political arena. Those who did not in the political arena and started in financial arena were able to perceive the constructs of the financial systems going up and down, perceiving certain levels or groups of entities becoming very wealthy and others becoming poor. And this caused frustration there, pointed out yet again in your news collective consciousness every day, if not through the news, then through those that you surround yourself with, that would speak, or social media that would show. All entities' focus was in one form or another in how the systems were starting to be broken. Many humans understood this that are over the age of 40 at this time, and many of those understood but were focused upon other things in their experience at that time. Different aspects, whether it is personal growth, whether it was relaxation and finalizing their adventures in life through leaving work and retiring in that way, or many other auspices, trying to focus more so on the relaxation portion, while all of those who are younger took up the arms of what to do next. And this is a form of natural secular energy that goes in the Earth Collective. Now their focus and attention on all of the entirety of the Earth and those political and financial arenas was split so deeply with so much anger, it created a form of energy. Now we will speak directly of the mechanics. We have shared that when humans let out their emotions, that those emotions go directly into the grid system from their crown chakra and directly into the earth from their root chakras. And that energy pours into the earth and into the grid. And much of the time it is energy that needs to be released. Much of the time it is happy or positive energy that simply humans ignore and let go out of their system without noticing, without utilizing that love or excitement. And this is a positive attribute to the grid system, although most humans allow their other emotions to fly more readily. Anger pours out of you. This is why you have many expressions about anger. The steam coming out of your ears, blowing your top. All of these constructs show the violent projection of energy out of the human body. And many who saw and were angered by the financial and political systems allowed the pouring of their energy, anger in thought, anger in emotion, anger in way of being. And this flooded the earth. The Earth Collective Consciousness is a part that accepts what humans desire to do. That anchor in co-creation allowed for the area that is China to have that virus released. And that energy that was localized in China also was no incident or consequence. Many humans that live in that region feel suppressed deeply. Many humans in that region feel and are in some cases imprisoned for their own spiritual beliefs. Other entities have started finding the material consciousness that holds truth behind it. Some find this through channeling, others through yoga, others through meditation, and were told by the government that is over them that this will not be allowed. It will cause division with our government and cause the fall of our country. So they suppressed or hid that energy. And of course, manifesting out of the most suppressed region in that moment, in that specific variance of time, was of course the releasing of that virus into the collective consciousness. Now, the means in which it occurred, we have already shared that this form was human-made. And of course, governmental systems in war desire to make these. Scientists create these also to study the way to heal and the way to harm with this energy. That construct is one that is the most massively utilized in the warring fractions of Earth that hold militarily constructs of energy that are potent and that are the destructive behaviors of human. So of course this will be the way that the energy is released specifically, and the personal entities also in their own co-creation have had resistances of heart and mind. So yet again, the energy is released, and of course, with all of the humans pouring their own energies out into the ether, into the entire collective consciousness, into the earth specifically and the grid, it allowed that local breakout to become a contagion. It allowed the entirety of Earth to have possibility of gaining that one disease or the one virus. Once it was perceived that there was a dangerous military formed version of virus that was out, then of course the systems that had been failing humans for the entirety of their time made that worse by starting to utilize that in their own ways and desires to create more money for the governments, to create more systems of medical energy that were not useful or that were counterintuitive, or in many different ways to create falsehoods behind what intentions that they have in the funding and co-creation with others. So yet again, this energy spreads forward and more confusion ensues. Not only a contagible virus that is let into your Earth collective consciousness, but also a great deal of misinformation, mistruths, hidden constructs, and of course the humans to fight that fight. Of course it is a virus from a lab, of course it can't be one from a lab because politicians said that it was. So the fight ensues, the collective more divided. One moment, we'll hydrate and continue.
All right.
The virus itself scares human beings. It is embedded in your DNA to be frightened of outbreaks and plagues. It, of course, at different points of your history, had killed nearly 1/3 of the entirety of the Earth population as the greatest, most harmful. And this is in the head of all humans, as all of you who have spent more than this incarnation in Earth had lived at a time where the Black Plague had taken your life and mostly many other lives of those that you loved and knew. And of course it sits in your DNA as trauma from your relatives. The energy of all of that construct was enough to create more fear, more confusion, more fighting. And that was a part of the accelerated energy's reflection, as the accelerated energy of the galactic collective form knows that the only way to accelerate is to bring the great energies that the race that it works with holds, and also the deepest fears and disconnections. So it brought through all of the right people and all of the right humans who desired to speak in the ways that they spoke in one direction or another. It brought about that passion. Notice, all of the humans that you are aware of who speak of these things, who are speaking of viruses, of government treatment of viruses, of sickness or illness or lack of sickness and illness, how many of those humans had spoken of these types of things before? Less than 1/3 of the humans that are now participating in speaking of these things ever held a conversation such as this before. Everyone starts perceiving the power in themselves to speak and will have their truth heard. That is part of the trauma from being held back in your voice for thousands of years through tyrannical government systems and through the suppression that Earth has created for itself to incarnate into. As many humans perceive themselves as victims of these constructs of suppression, of tyranny, of tyrannical beings overseeing them, understand that is also a part of your desired creation at soul level, at an oversoul level, but also as a co-created part of the energy. If you did not feel as if you have been victimized by either the governmental suppression or the virus itself, you would have not been able to go through all of the systems that you perceive that are wrong. All of the systems that you now see are much different than the way that you once perceived them, or simply in the way that humans interact with each other, which is of a great mystery to many of you, to see the unraveling of humans around you in the mental, emotional, and constructive co-creational ways. This was that teacher, and it needed to be that teacher. And this was one of a lesser construct, as we've expressed, because it was more so a divine form of co-creation with multiple components versus those that are regionally exclusively co-creating in certain small units of your Earth that then ripple out to affect others. This was a true co-creation and collaborative form of co-creation with every human that is in the Earth Collective. Now we understand technically that all are co-creations with the entirety of the Earth, but this one had a great deal of manifesting outwardly from the individual and the co-created collective. We will take your queries.
Yes, Aridif. It was kind of when you caught me off guard when you asked me to give you an example, and the coronavirus thing is a convenient example. But I was also thinking of some things that were more uplifting in the human experience, like the birth of air travel. When human beings attained the ability for flight in modern times, or the discovery of a new landmass. I know some of these things haven't happened in recent times, but based off the idea that the physical world is sort of a camouflage of our thoughts and emotions, what does that mean for humanity when there's things like air travel or the discovery of new landmasses?
Yes, of course. Now, if you're looking at the mechanics versus the meaning, these are two different things. The meaning in symbolism of the taking flight is exactly as all of you think and feel it would be. For humans to break the barrier of being grounded simply in the expression of Earth itself and be able to go into that air, to spread your wings as the bird, to hold freedom, and to start the process towards freedom. And part of freedom for humans is technology. Now we understand, as Earth holds duality, that same freedom-giving technology that is handed to you can also be utilized to suppress you, or to hold down, or to create lessening of the human experience as it pertains to personal experiences of co-creating with other humans in relationships. But the dual-sided sword is the Earth collective consciousness. You cannot have a beautiful invention of technology at this time without having the equal opposite version and force of that energy. So of course, taking flight, the Internet Collective, finding the North American continent in that way that humans perceived it was found. Of course, all of these are examples of great freedom and great suppression. You have the individual thought process of your Internet Collective allowing you to reach to new humans, to go create and connect, and of course, to have the worst human behavior profited from. Then you have the flying, which of course gives you the opportunity to go, but also makes the world smaller in a way that can be negative for the co-creational form of human interaction. When you are busy flying around the world at work, you have no time for the family or local community that you do love and desire to give time to. Then you hold the vibration, finding the new landmass. Of course, the world becomes smaller yet again. And there are great new things to find in the new land, but also there are great deals of populations to murder, rape, and pillage. All of these constructs hold both highly positive and good expressions and highly negative and suppressive constructs, as is the human experience. Now, a part of the Earth Collective, after going through the next 1 year or 1/2 year of your own time, is the part of your experience to start rebalancing the balance of needing that opposite. But many humans are not able to find that. That is also a part of the virus version, also a part of every major war that you have had, and all things from stubbing your toe in the sidewalk last evening. All of those energies go towards the rebalancing of that energy, the recalculation of thought process, that of course there can be positive without negative, or of course there can be negative without positive, whatever your desire to balance. And the Earth, of course, will choose its own balance in that way. And of course, each of you will choose your individual version of the Earth and which way it goes, and on that expression goes. Now, we will take your first example and first query and cover the reason that technological difficulties occurred within the collective form. First, a great deal of that energy goes towards those that are creating it from the very top form of the creation. Rob himself is a part in which none of us could co-create with one another in this specific way without forming. So his own energy as it pertains to the experience was very simple in the way that he expressed his own experience to all of you. The last 3 weeks, in his own words, have been very hard for us, have been very difficult and very stressful for us. In his own words, that construct is one that is simply opening the experience of continuation of that expression. He is aware of this, as all of us are aware at some level, that when you express how bad things are, of course you create the greater and newer opportunities for worse things. This is part of that energy. And of course, the opposite reaction of that energy is that before, at the very beginning, it started in time, the energy would have been approximately similar to the start of time as well. In fact, in majority of probabilities that are of the highest nature, you would have started later, as Kalina would have continued to share, and then Rob would have continued to share, and William continue to share until more time would have elapsed, then simply by creating the version of energy that allowed Rob to change the mindset and say, we must hurry, technology is waiting. This construct allowed a quicker start, which leads to the quicker end, which is more beneficial for Rob and Kalina, as bedtime in their own expression must only occur after rituals, after disconnecting, and of course their own morning starting early in their own mind. All of those expressions lay apart, but each individual who is here in this moment, each individual who is listening, also playing a part of that energy. Deborah being one that is a great example of that energy. It was time for her to be here, and she was here right before the connection process started. It is what she needed in her own experience. William coming in to the one day previous, not knowing except for 2 days previous. It was important for you to be here in that day as well as this day in this moment. All of you individually have something within the co-creation that you needed to hear, that you needed to see, that you needed to feel. Some of it that would be positive affirmation to what you believe already, some changing your beliefs completely, and some showing things that are not as resonant with your own mindset, thus allowing you to explore others. All of the individual versions of energy collaborating together, with the precipice of energy at its forefront, folding into a time that is being late, even though in our own perspective, in some and most probabilities being slightly earlier.
Well, that's very succinct, Ardif. Thank you for that.
Yes, of course. We will take one more query before disconnecting for this evening.
Okay, well, I had two that I'm going to throw at you, and you could decide how to handle it. They may be related. You had mentioned that in some instances, you start over your incarnation, kind of walking in to a point in your life and making changes and reliving it to see if you can get a different outcome or a more preferable outcome. My question is there any telltale signs for the individual to know that they're experiencing reality in this way? And also the other thing is, in the physical world, since physical objects represent our inner belief systems and ideas and things like that, what happens when maybe like a national figure dies, like a pope or a president, or even a tree gets cut down outside of your house? How do these sort of things leaving physical reality affect people? So those are my two questions.
Yes, of course. When you are looking at the construct of one prominent figure that leaves, or simply one entity loses, one in which they love, or tree is removed, all of these are co-creations in two forms. The version of entities who experience the version of Earth without that person, and the person leaving physical reality, and both of those are much different. Now, large figures, such as the assassination of your Kennedy president in your United States history, this version was a co-creation by the entirety of the Earth Collective for the benefit of those who lived in the United States to perceive something which they did not perceive or believe could occur again. The killing of that previous president so many years previous, the Abraham Lincoln entity, was thought to be only that of the older days, that we are a more civilized society. And of course, if those humans had slavery and we do not, then we are more advanced, we have more technology, more training, more understanding. Yet the entirety of the nation must also learn that those that they perceive as positive, as many humans did love the entity that was Kennedy, that can be taken away. There are also entities that are behind the scenes of that entity that was trying to work for more open expression of the human experience, especially that which is in the United States, and trying to fix a great deal of wrongs that were starting to occur or had occurred in many years. And this energy was not the right time for that to break open. So in a collective form, the one person would desire more so to do it than any other human before in the local version of time, and the desire for the collective to stay in certain levels of suppression was of vital importance. Therefore, the version, the entity that murdered him, and the version of entity that he was, all knew that death must occur in that life before ever entering it, knowing that a probability would be high of that high level of success and the high level of notoriety in that community. Now, going into the tree that is removed from your own essence, this construct is something that is internal. These are the parts of you that desire to either change things all of the time or to remain in what most humans call patterns, or most humans call the simple expression of comfort and experience, and going through. Even in some forms of ritual, day-to-day experience monotony must be broken, and those who are constantly shifting must have a greater example that they realize their favorite tree has been removed, and sometimes things change too quickly. Most of the time, in things that are not vitally important for that human, that are removed from their reality, are only simple background reminders. But in collective levels, it is a personal manifestation for those only that knew the human who passed, or the expression for that individual who had one loss alone in their own experience. Now, as you are perceiving the entirety of the consciousness of Earth in the way that you may lose or co-create a greater loss at a collective form and level, the energies that are intertwined with that construct are important. The first query and example that you had given, may you expand upon this more so?
You had been speaking about human beings after physical death. They have an opportunity to go back into their incarnation, pick up where they left off, and make necessary changes. Is there any signs for an individual? Like, how would I know right now if I were doing that? How would any of us know?
You are meaning intuitive signs, yes.
Yes, that you're reliving a life and just making some changes in it.
Yes, we understand. It would not be noticeable to a human that is living that experience. It would defeat the purpose unless there is a recognition before entering that a remembrance must occur. Now, there will be notice by some humans as behavior may act differently, or the person that once was, that still holds a great deal of their personality, were to step in. Others will notice you have made changes, and the human will say, it is not me, it is you. Or, yes, I feel a bit more spunky in this day. So this can and does occur in noticement mostly by the third-party entities that are about. But the human being is not designed to understand or know, and there would be no telltale signs of recognition, as it defeats the purpose of re-entering that experience and living that alternative version. But we can express those that understand that they are walking can mistake themselves as an entirely different soul, as I hold one set of memories previous and another, but those are the entities who desired to have that identity met before entering that reality.
Okay. Well, I know you said one question and we got two. You're very gracious, Aridif, and thorough, so thank you for that.
Yes, of course. It is our great pleasure to co-create with all of you, as we have expressed previously. And of course, we reiterate at the beginning of our transmission of co-creation. We wish to express to all of you that as you go forward in the collective consciousness, know, yes, in that way you perceive you are one small cog in a larger machine of co-created collective consciousness. But we also desire for you to perceive that you are the creator of all of it that is around you. And the human duality that works can allow both, because they are the polar opposite of one another. Just as when you marry a human being, you can have a divorce on the negative side, or you may lose that person through death. 40 years later, there will always be a positive and negative in the expression of humans until you move past that vibration of needing that counterbalance and opposite in your expression. We give all of you the understanding that as we have shared these perspectives, and as we have shared the energy of the reflection of co-creation, it gives us the opportunity to perceive the parts of our own consciousness that we have yet to perceive. All of you are growing rapidly in your experience, and because of our co-creation, we are also rapidly growing in ours. We congratulate all of you for your growth, and of course we thank you for our own. We bid you all adieu for this evening, and not only are you loved, but we love you as well. We bid you adieu as well, William.
I do, Aridif.
I do.
All right, I go.
It went fantastic, Rob.
Oh, I love to hear that.
As
Internet
you-
stayed on.
The internet stayed on. Aridif talked all about why the internet failed, actually. One of my questions to him, as he wanted an example of, collective manifesting. And I'm like, well, how come we couldn't get our act together for the show tonight? So he went into that. And
Yeah.
actually, we got started quicker than we even should have, according to many probabilities.
Really? That's actually quite amazing.
The internet going down sped things along. Otherwise, we would have went way too late.
Excuse me, that's crazy. Excuse me, I never even thought that would be a possibility. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel really bad, until hearing Aridif. I mean, I'm very sloppy tonight. I'm kind of tired. I'm tripping over my words a little bit.
Mm.
We've had technical problems. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, don't feel bad. Apparently, we fast tracked it tonight.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, in line with fast tracking it, you want to just wrap it up? You got anything?
Yeah, no, I think tonight is a good night to jump off. We're gonna end up trying to get up early. We've only got one more day after tomorrow that we've got till we leave for Kalina's mom's funeral. So thank you guys for showing up, for being around. We really love you guys. And just I see some new people came in too. So Deborah, hello. Speeda, I already saw you, but hello again. Stella, hello. I think I caught all of you guys. If I didn't say your name throughout here, just let you know I'm sending you guys my love, and thank you guys for coming. I'm good with jumping off tonight, brother. I think we can wrap her.
Okay, except I have to say one more thing. We will have ET Whisperer merch coming very quickly. I sent Rob some proofs a couple weeks ago before things got crazy. I'm just waiting for Rob to tell me which ones he likes the best, and we're going to start mass producing them.
Yes, guys, and I want you to go look at the hat on my Facebook. If you guys, a lot of you guys are already on my Facebook, but if you're not, you can go to my Facebook. It's it's facebook.com/ET Whisperer Rob, I believe. I'll check that. Either ET Whisperer Rob or ET Whisperer, and I think ET Whisperer is my page. Either way, you can try one or the other. I'm the only Rob Gauthier that looks like me, so you can click there. And then, scroll down to about a week and a half ago when we were in North Carolina. I just got the packages we were leaving, so check that out, guys. And then I'll be doing pictures of the shirts and stuff. We just haven't had time to get them set up to wash them up and stuff.
And I don't want to put you on the spot or anything. Those were only meant as proofs. And we've developed our process even better than what you got in the mail.
Oh, that's beautiful, brother. I'm glad to hear that. I'll be showing you guys off all this stuff too. And William has done amazing with it, guys. And I think you guys will love it. The ET Whisperer hat is cool. I haven't worn a hat in like 20 years, but it was worth wearing that one. I'm still wearing it every time I'm out and about driving.
It's funny. The hat is like the worst piece of merch I said. By the time we perfected that process, we ran out of hats. So you got the last hat that was kind of okay, but now we've got it down to a science, and we didn't have any more hats. So.
Oh man, well I can't wait to see it, dude. I really can't. That one was good. I've been wearing, like I said, I've been wearing it the whole time. I even let the baby wear it for a minute. She had it falling off her head with her tiny head. It was great.
Yeah, well, we'll have. I'm really excited to get out ET Whisperer merch because I would wear it. Like Treb and Aridif look cool.
Oh, dude, they look good. They look badass, especially all the art we've had done in Carolina and Vashta. I mean, we really got good stuff, guys.
Actually,
the art that people have done.
If anybody out there is an artist or you want to try your hand at it, make some Treb and Aridif art. Send it to us with the agreement that we can use it on T-shirts, of course. And, maybe your art can get on an ET Whisperer T-shirt or hat or coffee mug. I'd like to see Treb and Aridif as like anime characters, done Japanese style.
Yeah, that would be cool. Nothing's cooler than some good anime looks.
Yeah, Treb would have like those big blinky Sailor Moon eyes, like looking longingly at you.
That's great.
So,
I'm sorry.
or it's like a plushie
I
or
just
something.
pictured it in my head, and I was like, "Oh my god, it'd be great."
Yeah, I hope you got what I was picturing. I think you did, because my daughter's on a Furby kick now. She found Furbies from 1998, and she's like ordered like a half a dozen Furbies. So maybe we can get. You remember those little things? Those creepy little.
I, yeah, Little Fur. I remember them very well. I think my sister had a couple of
Yeah, they
them.
were cursed because you could take the batteries out, but they'd still keep talking for years. Like there's
Oh
a.
my god, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
you remember
Oh,
that? They turned into like an actual nightmare.
yeah, like a little possessed doll that would keep going.
Yeah, they're still making them now. I bet you they're listening to you and uploading everything to the government probably.
Yeah, little Furby spies. That's probably it.
So anyway, yeah, but we could make a Treb and Arta Furby perhaps.
That would be great. Oh my God, guys, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Whenever not this time, not tomorrow, obviously, but when we get back, maybe on the 15th of next month, I'll get on camera and get the shirts out and get the hat on, show you guys a nice shot of it, man. I love to do that.
Yeah, we went with V-neck. That was Carolina's decision. She's a V-neck fanatic.
Oh, V-necks are good. I like V-necks.
But all right, well, I won't keep everybody. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Rob, before we?
No, just I love you guys, and thank you guys for being patient with us while we were down with Kalina's family. We didn't say exactly what it was, just because the family asked us not to make anything public. But so we just wanted to thank you guys for being patient, just knowing we had to deal with a family emergency, and love you guys so much. We'll see you on the 15th of next month, and then again on the 30th. I'll have the suggestions and the link up for the Q&A on the 5th, and then on the 10th we'll vote, and on the 15th we'll channel. And for those of you who haven't got your question in, go back to Patreon, click the post tab, and go down to where it says poll suggestions and Q&A form, and you'll find that link right there.
Yep. And in case she is here, I did not see you. I think this is the first thing you ever said. So hello and good night, Nkeishi.
Yeah, Nkeishi, bye.
All right, everybody. I guess that's about it. Thank you, Rob, for being here with us tonight. And yes, I myself appreciate everybody's patience with all of our technological problems. But you heard it straight from Aridif. It was universal perfection all along. We just didn't know it. So thank you, guys. It is May 30th, 2021 right now. Happy Memorial Day weekend if you're not able to make it here tomorrow with us. If you're living in the United States, it is 12:52 a.m. And I am William, signing out from Fincastle, Virginia, from the ET Whisperers monthly Patreon poll show.